And so, my dear ones, welcome into the sanctuary on this great Sunday, the third in the Christian calendar called Advent, which is Gaudete Sunday, which is celebration, joyous Sunday. As we get nearer the darkest day of the year, in ancient times, they realized how important it was to appreciate the light and to celebrate that and to know that the dark days would soon be over. And alongside of this, we celebrate Hanukkah at this time of the year, which is the celebration of eternal light. And of course, that arose out of a wonderful experience of the Jews in ancient times when they were being invaded yet again, as is their wont, that other countries seem to be always wanting to take over Jerusalem at one time or another, right to the present day. It's a fascinating thing in their psyche. But what they were celebrating was the fact that their temple was under siege as well, and they were defending the temple. And there was only enough light left to keep the light in the temple for one day. But however, miraculously, that one light, lasted for 8 days, and consequently, you have the celebration of the 8 days of Hanukkah, or eternal light. So light it is that we all celebrate in some way or another in every culture at this time of year. And now for us in the teaching of science of mind and spirit, the art of life and living spiritually, we're celebrating the light everywhere present, but most especially within ourselves. Now there's a novel thought, the light within ourselves. And so we get to really pause for a moment, take a moment out, which is why we're all here, because there's an impulsion within us to really come back home to ourselves and our selfhood, and to realize that what's going on in this thing called life is not just our, running around and getting and spending and gathering and collecting and giving and exchanging and all of that. It's not our circumstances, it's not our situations, it's not our accomplishments, it's not our failures, it's none of that. That's part of human life and experience, if we so desire it to be, if we so choose it to be, by the way we're thinking, by the way we're feeling, by the ideas we believe, and what we embrace as my life, however we're embracing it. But remember, it is the light of consciousness that clears all of that away and wakes us up so that we can say, what the hey am I doing? What is it that I'm putting up with? What is it that I'm allowing myself to experience every day, every year, without too much change? When I could decide on experiencing whatever kind of life I want to have, through the power of the mind, through the power of consciousness, and through the conscious direction of that mind, which is energy, which is an energy that follows my direction, follows my thought and feeling patterns, and brings me exactly what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. If that is the case, is it not worth a shot at trying out a new way of thinking and a new way of being? Now, that's what the light is about within you. It's pressing in on us now to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up. Become aware that you are energy. You're not people. You're not persons. You're pure energy. And that energy is light. And that light is the scintillating essence of love. That's what it is. It's power. Awesome power like we've never understood before. And yet you and I are called to understanding it in this way now. Yes, exactly as we are, full of all of the whatever we're full of, exactly as we are. We could wake up right now. A wonderful thing could happen. The light could dawn, and those of us who sit in darkness could see the light in this moment now, if we so are open to it. And that is the crux. We must create the open receptivity to that, and we must allow ourselves to be its outlet, because we can't gain any more light than we already have. We've never lost it. It's always been ours. Our challenge is to let it out. Let the light shine. This light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And it's not a little light. It's a light that's everywhere present, full of infinite intelligence, potential and possibility for all kinds of great good. So do we embrace the light, or do we choose to still sit in the darkness and say it's just the way life is, it's the human condition? Yeah, but I'm not the human condition. I am more than that, and so are you. And you never were ever the human condition. You were always more, and you were always the light, and you were always the presence of Spirit. And as I was sharing this morning, I mean, it just slapped me up the side of the head like it does these days. These days, I'm getting it by being slapped up the side of the head. Have you noticed that? That's the way it is. I said, well, how could you have been so stupid before, or whatever? Anyway, I was last night reading, in a contemplative way, contemplating, chewing and digesting what I was reading. And it was a piece in the essays of Goldsmith, Joel Goldsmith. And he was saying, God never created you, and God never created anything. And I'm saying, what the hell is he talking? I know I'm tired and it's been a long day, but I mean, we're talking about the Creator and creation all the time, and then now you're saying I was never created and God never created anything. But then he goes on to say, no, God never created anything or something. God manifested God's own selfhood in everything and everyone. That means you. So hello all ye gods. Now are you the sons and daughters of God. Did you not know that you are as gods? This is the ancient wisdom that we just listen to, and it goes in here and out the window. Oh, isn't that lovely? What a nice thought. It's the thing poetry is made of, and art too. And never applying that to mean me. I am the poetry, I am the art of that. Do you believe that you are the light? That's the question today. Do you believe? Well, let me tell you, all of this that we come together to study, to discuss, to put into practice, and so on, was a very real demonstration here yesterday. Again, this morning, it hit me last night, actually. But I was sharing this morning with the 9 o'clockers. I was saying, yesterday here, we became applied Christianity, which is the pure teaching of the Master Teacher Jesus, which is the teaching of love, not organized Christianity, but the pure, undiluted teaching of the Christhood. And we became spirituality in expression yesterday, as we, as points of that light, arrived here to prepare to greet the points of light in our guests that were coming in, and to experience that light in a very visceral way that showed up in the eyes of awe and wonder in children as they just could hardly believe what they were experiencing. As that light showed up in the eyes of parents and grandparents and social workers and those of us who were serving yesterday at what was going on and what was happening, it was a light experience. No ifs, ands, buts, or doubts about it. And that, my dear ones, only happened because you are sitting in those seats. You point of lights sitting in these seats here created that opportunity for all of us to have a practical experience and demonstration of what it is to be a spiritual being. So feel good about yourselves and give yourselves a round of applause. We are a community of spiritually realizing individualized expressions of that light. Whether it feels like that or looks like that or sounds like that at times, That is the truth. And in spite of our human selves, we bring ourselves in here, regardless of how we're feeling or what we're thinking, or whether we're crabby, or whether we're the most benign people on the planet and generous people on the planet. It doesn't matter. We come. And that's the key. We come however we are. We come in that sense and sensibility of feeling fragmented or feeling whole and all the various shades in between. We come and we keep coming and we keep coming and we keep coming until we don't have to anymore, until we are self-realized. But until then, we make a mighty joy unto the law, as the scriptures says, and especially in evidence was that yesterday. So I want to share that with you. And outstanding amongst all of the people that were engaged in that happens to be Jan and her wonderful husband David. They were outstanding in demonstrating the generosity of spirit. Day after day after day, they were here minutely going over everything and very, very conscious and aware of what they were about and what all of this stood for. Day after day after day, and sometimes very tired and very weary, day after day after day they came. And I must also recognize their marvelous team of workers as well. Beautiful experience, beautiful experience. That, my dear ones, is the center for spiritual living in Redondo Beach at its best. And it always comes up with the goods when it needs to come up with the goods. It always does. So again, that's you and your light, whether you know it or not, blending and coming together as this wonderful, awesome collective power, collective light to create and expand more of the light in and through others. I'm telling you, those people yesterday who were here, our wonderful other aspects of ourselves who were here yesterday, we'll never forget that. Never. Those children will always remember that, and so will the parents. Like Oprah Winfrey shared once upon a time on a dark Christmas night when a knock came to the door and they opened, and there were two nuns standing there with Christmas for the children. Never forgotten. Always registered, never forgotten. So we created beautiful memories yesterday in the minds of many, and so it continues. But see, what I'm endeavoring to do in this moment now is to get you to sense and feel the light and the energy and the power of that presence within you that calls of all of that to come together. It wasn't your idea, it was the idea of the one who is within you to create this together. That's what it's all about. So this is what we mean when we talk about practical spirituality, practical Christianity, practical any kind of spiritual faith. And it has to be applied, 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 applied. Theory of itself is useless. The theory has to be applied, and it was beautiful here yesterday. So I rejoice with you in all of that, and I'm grateful, deeply grateful to have been a small part of it all. And so this is what we have to know when we look at ancient wisdom, which is right up and current in this moment today. There have been clues and keys along the way with regard to how we release the light. How do we release the light? And remember, it's not about getting the light. It can't come to us. It's already within us. No good can come to us. It's already with us. It has to come through us. And your job and my job is to create the outlet for that to happen. And the way we do that is through raising our consciousness, raising our consciousness. So now if I be lifted up into the higher echelons of conscious society, I shall draw all good through me, is the metaphysical meaning of, and I, if I be lifted up, will draw all men to me. So, the first clue is, the very first clue is, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's a kingdom of light. It's a kingdom of power. It's a kingdom of great infinite intelligence, and it is within you. Contained within all of that is the light, the love, the peace, the beauty, the power, and all the rest of it. It's all within you. And if you seek it first, we're told everything else happens by means of good and is good. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. and its righteousness, its right thinking, its right consciousness, and all things else will be added unto you. It's the first thing we have to know. Second thing we have to know is if our eye be single, and if our eye be stayed on spirit, then the whole body is filled with light. The whole body is filled with light. And in this sense of the presence of that light, in the sense of that presence, in quietness and confidence shall our strength be in that presence, in that presence. If you and I can know that that power and that presence is always with us wherever we are, however we are, with whomever we are, then everything is possible and all things are added unto us. Now, the next thing to know is pray without ceasing. These are the clues that have been given to us. Pray without ceasing. Yeah, like that's going to happen. It can't be. It's never going to happen. Don't have the time. Don't have the energy. Don't even know how to go about it. How can anyone possibly be praying without ceasing? I mean, come on now. Well, of course, it doesn't mean that at all, because prayer has nothing to do with words and saying and dialoguing and monologuing and so on. Very little to do with that. That's preparatory to prayer. Prayer is listening and being aware that I'm more than I think I am, and the moreness that I think I am is always with me, it's always present with me. And so the example that Goldsmith gives us is, for goodness sakes, I mean, I know everybody only has the same 24 hours in a day, and yes, we all have a lot to do on planet Earth. We're very busy bees. We're just like ants. We're always on the go, in some way or another. If not on the go in body, we're certainly on the go in mind, and God knows where the mind goes. But anyway, that's a talk for another time. So what is said here is, listen, when you're getting up and going out, just pause for a moment and remember, I'm getting up in the presence of God, and I'm going forward knowing that God's presence has gone before me, and God's presence remains behind as a blessing to all who enter in. Just being aware throughout your day of the fact that I am more than myself doing all this busyment. I am in the presence, and the presence is in me, and the presence of God is always going with me, going forward with me, because the presence of God is always in me. And if I could just get used to doing that, we are told by all the great mystics, if you could get used throughout the whole day knowing you're more than yourself, you're more than yourself, you're more than yourself, you're not the only one in this, you're not the only one doing this, but the power and the presence is always in you, working through you as you, and just lean into it and rely upon its assistance and upon its help. Relax, release, let go of all the stress and strain around, all the stuff that you have to do, especially the rotten meeting you have to go to, or the terrible neighbor you have to contend with, or whatever it is that's going on. Just breathe, relax, release, let go, and let's say, okay, this is where I can let God do this, because I can't and I don't really want to, but I don't have to, because God can do it for me and through me and as me. Somehow it's a miracle. I don't understand it, but I'm told that's what it is, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a go. I'll give it a try. And then keep doing that until it becomes a habit, and you don't have to remember, oh, I forgot to tune in and remember I'm in the presence of God. I forgot to do that. Just do it when you can remember to do it, and you remember it more, and you'll remember it more, and you'll remember it more. Oh, please, I know this sounds so simple, and sometimes so, oh yeah, of course, if only. Go with it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Test it out, try it out, see it for yourself, see if it works, but give it a good shot. I mean, really, you can't just try it once and say, see, there, it doesn't work. You have to keep doing it. Give it an honest try, which takes a little bit of time, effort, and energy. And we will learn then that the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of good, the kingdom of life, the kingdom of light, whatever else you want to add to that, is right where I am. It's the truth. And it is the truth that sets you free and me free and all life free too. And it's the only thing that can set us free from the burden of human life and living. Have you noticed sometimes it's burdensome, it's wearisome? Sometimes, yes. And it is only to the human being when the human being thinks they're only a human being. Well, I'm not a human being only. I'm a divine being, truly. And I am power, I am energy, I'm intelligence, I'm consciousness, and I can draw from that. I can pull from that. I can allow myself to infuse myself with energy from that. And remember, we say it from time to time, don't let your energy sink. When you find your energy is sinking, pull it up again, because life is all about energy. It's all about keeping yourself up in energy. Then you can realize things. Then you can accomplish things. Then you can advance things, including yourself. But it requires energy. Have you noticed that? When you're not energetic, you just don't feel like doing anything. So what do? You sit in your dirty air and you watch television or whatever it is one does when one is low in energy. And let me tell you, the television chair is the most expensive chair any one of us will ever sit in. Costs us a lot. It costs us a lot. And to go back to what Goldsmith was saying, he says, it's going to cost you something to keep your mind stayed on spirit. It's going to cost you. And what it's going to cost you is you remembering to practice the presence. That's what we have to do. And as I have shared before, a good practice is when you're finishing one task, remember the presence you're in. When you're beginning another one, remember the presence you're in, and remember it's in it with you, in whatever it is you're embracing. It's in it with you. Relax, release, let go, and let God. We say that like a sing-song, like, Mary had a little lamb kind of thing. But if we could truly mean it and feel it, it would be such a wonderful help, a very real and present help to us all. So, again, the power is with you. All power is with you. It's not just with you, it's in you. You leave it behind you, it goes before you, it's all around you, it's all about you, it is you. Now, the thing is, can you believe it or not? Believe it or not. So say with me, I am the light. I am the light. I am the light now. I am its expression now. And I always will be. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light. Now, in your darkest moment and in your most thoughtful moment, tell yourself, I am the light, I am the light. Who would know it? But that's what I am. Yeah, rotten darkness fills me at the moment, and everything in my life is going down the tubes. It's all wrong. I feel rotten, but nevertheless, I am the light. I am the light. And so it is.